Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to give an overview on sharing rules in Salesforce. Sharing rules are used to extend access beyond the org-wide defaults. As a reminder, org-wide defaults are the base level access defined in Salesforce. The purpose of sharing rules is to give users access to records that they wouldn't typically have access to based on the org-wide default settings. To create a sharing rule from the setup homepage, type sharing settings in the quick find box and click on sharing settings. So as you can see, we have all the org-wide defaults listed here. We would click edit if we wanted to edit those. But for this, we're going to actually click on this manage sharing settings for dropdown. And we're going to click on opportunities. So from here, there's a section called sharing rules. We're going to click on new. Before we start creating a sharing rule, I wanted to point out that there are two types of sharing rules. There are ownership-based sharing rules and there are criteria-based sharing rules. Ownership-based sharing rules are used to open up access to records owned by certain users. So you would first outline the rule name. You would select your type. So for this type, it'd be based on record owner. For step 3, this is where you would select the record owner of the records that you'd like to be shared. For this, there's a few options. Opportunities owned by public groups, by roles, and by roles and subordinates. This means that if you select public groups, we don't have any other public groups established right now other than all internal users, but essentially you could share all internal users' records. If we go back to the dropdown, if you select roles, it allows you to share records owned by a specific role. And if you select roles and subordinates, it will not only share the records owned by someone in a certain role, but also share the records owned by anyone underneath that role in the role hierarchy. I'm just going to select roles and we'll select CEO. And then in step 4, you're going to select the users that you'd like to share the records with. So this, you could also say roles, and you want to share it with the CFO. And then the last step, you want to select the level of access for the user. So you can select read only or read write. If we move on to criteria-based sharing rules, I'm actually going to go ahead and create one. Criteria-based sharing rules are used to share records with users once a record meets a specific criteria that's outlined in this sharing rule. So for this example, I'm going to create a sharing rule that shares opportunities that are in a negotiation stage with the CEO of the company. So for the label, I'm going to name this rule negotiation share. We've already selected the rule type. For step 3, we're going to outline the criteria that the record needs to meet in order to be shared. So for field, I'm going to select stage. For operator, we can select equals or not equals to. I'm going to select equals. And for value, we're going to click this magnifying glass. And then this brings up all the opportunity stage values. We're going to go ahead and click on negotiation review, insert selected. You can add filter logic, but we're not going to do so in this example. If you want to learn more, you can click on that and also look into it. And then for step 4, we're going to outline the role. So I'm going to change this actually to CEO. And then since this is our CEO, I'm going to give them read and write access and then click save, click OK. And that's it. So in summary, sharing rules are used to extend access beyond the level of access granted to users via the org-wide defaults. There are two types of sharing rules, ownership-based and criteria-based. And one last thing I wanted to note, sharing rules are only relevant if your org-wide default settings for an object are private or public read-only. If your org-wide defaults are set to public read-write, there would be no need to create a sharing rule because all users of your organization would have access to read and write on any opportunity. So that's all I have for this video. Thank you all for watching today, and I'll see you in the next video.